Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Advanced League Tips, a series where we take a look at each champion individually and break down their animation cancels, input buffering combos, as well as item active interactions with their kit. Today we're going to be taking a look at Nilah. We're here on the PBE because she is a brand new champion, and we're going to be taking a look at three different things that she's capable of. Q flashing, different interactions with her E-dash, as well as her ultimate combo between ult flashing and using ult with Gale Force. So without any further ado, let's just jump right into it. So the first thing we're going to be talking about with Nilah is Q flashing. So the way that her Q works is that she cracks her whip, and in a rectangular hitbox area, she deals damage. Now, the way the Q flashing works is that if you're out of range, as you can see, I'm not dealing damage to the Teemo statue here. While I'm casting her Q, as you can see, there's a wind-up bar right above my cursor. And it's during that time, during that wind-up, that you can actually flash and get in range of your enemy to deal damage to them and, you know, possibly execute and get the kill. So the way that works is you can see here I'm missing the Q, and then during the wind-up I Q flash, and Nilah's positioning changes as well as the positioning of the Q hitbox. And you can see that even though I go from out of range to in range, going Q flash allows you to get in range and deal that damage. Now, let's say that an enemy paths around you during your Q windup and you miss, or they flash behind you or flash to the side and dodge out of the way of your Q. Well, the way aiming her Q works is it's based off of your cursor position, not your last movement command. So as you can see here, as I move my cursor around, Nilah's whip follows in terms of aiming. Now, if I path up here, but then keep my cursor down here, she doesn't aim up here to cast her Q, she aims back down here. So keeping this aiming mechanic in mind, let's say that this is an enemy and they happen to flash from here to here. So keeping all of this in mind with flashing during the wind-up time, what I'm going to do is I'm going to aim in this direction, cast my Q, and then flash backwards. So here's Q flash. And as you can see, what happens is that the direction of the Q stays the same. However, the hitbox of Nilah flashes behind Teemo, and then that gets the hitbox of the Q in range to land. Now, one thing to note is that, as you can see, Nilah's animation changes in the opposite direction, but the hitbox doesn't change direction, only distance. So again, Q flash, and you can see that she's facing this way, but the hitbox is still facing off to the right. And then if you aim correctly, you can also do it horizontally. So Q flash, it still aims down, and when I flash into range, it still lands on the Teemo. So let's take a look at a couple of interactions with her E. There's nothing really going on with her W that I could find that's really interesting. It's simply presses W, ghosts, and then gives ally champions a buff that she runs through. So the way that her E-dash works is very simple. So if it's a minion or a champion, because as you can see, it says Nilah dashes through a unit dealing damage. A unit means that it's anything that has life. I've tried it with wards, and as you can see, I'm pressing E. Doesn't work. So when she presses E, she deals damage to everybody that she passes through, and it's a dash. Furthermore, if there is a thin wall and somebody that she has vision of on the opposite end, she can dash to them, and the same thing will still happen. Now, let's say that she's in range of dashing to them, but the wall is too thick. Let's see here. You can see that the dash goes off, but her character model doesn't travel to it. So this portion will still deal damage if it reaches. Although, actually, I think it might be hitbox. Yeah, it's actually hitbox based. Excuse me. So that'll happen, but you have to make sure that you're at a thin enough part of the wall in order for the dash as well as the damage to happen. Now, the thing that's interesting about her dash is that it's a set distance no matter where she is during the cast. So what's interesting here is that if I'm at maximum range, so she dashes from here to here, and then if she is right next to the enemy dummy, she'll actually dash all the way through at a maximum range. So no matter where her positioning is, which I think is something really interesting to note, her dash range will always be the same, but how far she goes through a unit, if that makes sense, will be determinate upon her starting position. So if I'm at max range, she'll stop right next to him. If I'm at like a mid-range, so if I'm like right here, she'll stop on the other side. But then if I'm like right next to him, she'll go all the way through and then stop like at the maximum distance of the dash. So that's something to note with her dash as well. Also, when her E goes off, everybody that she touches in that line will take damage even if she wasn't targeting them. So what I'm going to do is I'm targeting this guy, this ally, but you can see that her hitbox hits both this enemy and this enemy. So when the hitboxes meet, even if they weren't targeted, they'll still take damage. Furthermore, she can actually use Flash as an interaction to deal damage with her E, which is really cool as well. So you can see here that when I dash through, maximum range is here, and she doesn't reach this Teemo. So similar to Shen and Gragas, what you have to do is before the E resolves, meaning that she stops, she can actually flash to get damage off as well. So as you can see here, I'm going to flash up to here in the middle of my E dash, and when the hitboxes meet, that Teemo took damage. So basically what you're looking at here is that when her E turns on, anything that she touches before the ability resolves will result in damage happening. Now the last thing we're going to be taking a look at is Nilah's ultimate and the flash interaction as well as Gale Force. Now, with her ultimate, it's essentially the opposite of a Diana ult. So you can see here, she deals damage and then pulls people in. Whereas Diana, she pulls people in and then after a few seconds deals damage. So the interesting thing here is that when she presses her ultimate, her other three abilities get locked out. Now, I'm not exactly sure why her W stays highlighted. It's still the PvE. It's probably just a bug. But essentially, she can't cast her other abilities while her ultimate is active. Now, that being said, if you want to use something like her E, you can cast E first and then cast her ultimate, but you can't do it the other way, which is a little disappointing, but we'll talk about getting in range here in a sec. So, essentially, with her ultimate and Flash, you'll notice that when she presses her ult, Flash doesn't get locked out. So you can press R, Flash in range at any point before the pool comes off, and you can get the crowd control off that way. Furthermore, when I press my ultimate, you'll notice Gale Force doesn't get locked out, so even though she can't dash with her E, she can press R and dash with Gale Force. And then if you want to go maximum range, and that's R, Flash, and Gale Force, or you can go R, Gale Force, and then Flash. So there you have it, guys. That is everything that, as of right now in the PvE, Nilah is capable of, unfortunately, because it's Riot subject to change, but maybe that'll be for a good thing. So anyway, guys, I'm Remote Night Owl. Thank you guys very much for watching, and as always, we will see each other again real soon. Have a wonderful day.